What do you do, homies? And welcome to another devlog. So let's get serious. Today we're gonna work on the electric hand effects. Let's take a look. So my main reference for this was the Chidori from Naruto.
Lightning blade!
At first I had something like this, but it was not shiny enough, and okay, it had a bit of the movement of the lightning, but not exactly what I wanted. Then I turned on processing, then you can see a little bit more shininess and more visual effect to it, but it was still not what I wanted. So what I decided to do is look more for tutorials or stuff. I found one, it was really dense. The dude had a 22-minute tutorial with no sound, so I had to follow his mouse everywhere he goes and like, what did he do? What did he do? And after that, my mind was like, and still, in all honesty, is really cool. The guy, it is a really cool effect. I'm happy with the trail that you get from the lighting. And now let's take a look on the special power number 1. And as you can see, the hand effects by itself, it already generates a really cool trail. So all I needed to think now was mix the animation with the action, because I wanted my character to cross the enemies in front of him and then has like a triple hit and then have 3 thunders coming down on each hit. So here you can see already me trying to work it out. A thunder effect. Still needed to add a particle to hit to give some feedback and show that, like, okay, here is the exact location where we had the collision. Then I decided to add some earth cracks as if the ground is very electric still, and this is how it looks for now. Then I decided to, okay, maybe I can add at each hit one little pause, so you can see that there's like a 1/10 of a second pause at each hit he would have with his elbow. It's like 2 2 2. It's like a triple hit. And I started to have struggles with the colliders, so sometimes it would activate it, sometimes it would not. This gave me the idea of, like, if you don't hit anyone, no thunders come, but if you hit it, you get the particle effect, which was cool. But yeah, I needed to fix this problem with the colliders, because the player was activating its own collider and the collider was not following the movement. So after reparenting it, you can see that the collider now follows the movement of the player. Well, after that, I decided to build the soft lock component, which was to solve a problem where, depending on where you were looking, your animation would not target directly the enemy. So it would be very awkward to target, to hit this skill. So with the soft lock component, you can see that now the character just fly through the enemies with ease. And it made me think that, okay, maybe I should do something really way cooler, like a samurai sort of attack, like dashing through the enemy, and after the dash I would get the thunders coming down. But my head was exploding at that time, and I decided to, okay, let's take a break, let's try something else. And I decided to change the main character a bit, to maybe fit a bit more the environment and the play style of the game. As I was looking through all that stuff, what looked more interesting to me and more fitting was getting a hoodie to the guy, so I wouldn't need also to show hair, so the face is a bit more covered. I didn't find any cape or backpack that cooled enough, so I left it. All the aesthetic extra stuff like shoulder pads, elbow pads, I thought it was too much. What is really important in this character is because his right hand is his weapon, so this must be clear at all times, so it must be visible. So I looked for a t-shirt that it would have no sleeves and would grant his like clear arms for the sake of the visibility. And also I don't feel like he would be a guy that would carry heavy equipment, heavy armor. So I'll let the time lapse run, and when it's finished I'll come back. Here's the finishing touch. You can see I changed the color of the clothes, skin tone also, like they match well together now, have a bit more of contrast. The arm is clearly visible. You see I removed the hand, so it has enough space for it to be visible. The electric effect, we can also see with the other effects, the ice effects, it fits way better. There is no clipping from what was supposed to be the hand as before. You can see with the rock effect also looks cool. Checking the fire effect, I noticed like the fire effect's still a little bit lame. It doesn't fit that well, but it also made me remember of some really cool character from Saint Seiya: The Lost Canvas. And I was like full hype on it. I gotta get something like this in my game too. And after all that fire, it was about time to turn our enemies into toast. So, when the enemy gets electrocuted, the idea was to make them the darker skin and show the bones, so they're gonna get that. Toasty! Yeah, you can see here, I still was having troubles with timing. They're getting the darker skin before the lighting, the thunder even hits them. So I had to adjust that alongside with also adding a blinking to it. So I didn't get the colors of the blinking correctly at first, but with some trial and error I could get something also in a more lighter version of it. Looks really cool. You don't see that much the color of the black skin, but I think it turned out really nice and I like the looks of it. Still, you don't see the bones, but that's what we have so far. And after that, I was already again with my mind exploding. It was so many new effects, new stuff to learn, like jumping from tutorial after tutorial and then putting everything back. So I decided to release the Steam a bit and play some OG Warcraft 3 to relax, get that orc against humans, destroy the NPCs and recharge my energy. Feeling recharged again, I decided to jump in now to special effect number 2, which is like a rotatory dash forward. And this time I thought of making something different, not make something that does damage, but instead paralyze the enemies, like electrified, like this animation like static. I didn't know exactly how to go with this, but a friend at work, he said like, why don't you just like swap between 2 frames? So that's exactly what I tried doing, as you can see here. Still, the animation was still not as snappy as we wanted. When you're getting electrocuted, you don't want like a smooth transition between one movement and the other. Like you want more snappy electrocuted behavior. Even though I tried to smooth the animations, the curves, I only managed to get something like that, having 3 different frames and one after the other. So like position 1 like this, and then position 2 like this, and then you go back to position 1. and all like one frame, second frame, third frame, like no space between them. And then after that, I slow down, like I stretch this without having the smoothing between like the two frames. And I slow it down in the animation. After that being done, I managed to have my twerking guys now being electrocuted, like but they're still like getting electrocuted, and the behavior was still there. They were still looking, not moving, but looking at the player. And when they died, there was still some weirdness, but having that fixed, let's look again how it looks, everything together. So that is it, folks. What's coming next is now I'll take a break from doing special effects and special attacks. I am myself already tired. I want to make a change, and I did a community post asking what would you guys be interested next, and what seemed to be the highest voting category was making a new level, a new scene. So that's what I'll do. I already have in mind what I want. I hinted with a picture of a castle, so that's all I'm telling you guys. Get ready for the next one.